Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Sarah Millican.
For coming to my show. This is quite a long tour for me, and I get a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous because I have a habit of buying trinkets wherever I go, sort of mementos, and I'm a little bit nervous that by the end of the tour I might need a fucking extension. On the last tour we were in Edinburgh, and I bought a cup, a really nice little cup, and on the side of the cup it said, I'd rather be in Edinburgh. Quite smug that, isn't it? But I liked it. It was perfect for drinking out of when I was in actual Edinburgh. But when you take that home and you sit beside your husband in your kitchen and drink out of it, that's a very different message, isn't it? It's quite passive-aggressive now. Now it says, I'd rather be in Edinburgh. And it made me wonder, do you think that's the slowest way you could break up with somebody? Just buy all of the cups from all of the different places? And then the last one, if he still hasn't taken the hint, just write on it in a Sharpie, anywhere you're fucking not. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're well. I'm also well. I had a migraine a few weeks ago. I don't get them often enough to worry about, but I had to get them every now and again. And I thought I'll go on Twitter, and I'll ask people on Twitter how they get rid of their migraines. Give us a cheer if you are on Twitter. Quite a few. And I got the usual sort of expected responses, and then my favourite one came up, and it said, 2 Nurofen and a wank. And it totally worked. Just push the throbbing down a bit. Thanks, at Boots the Chemist. We do a lot of driving in this job. Something I've noticed increasingly more often, and maybe the drivers in the room can vouch for this, every now and again, by the side of the road, I'll see a bottle of wee. Have you seen this? A bottle of wee? What I'm assuming has happened is a man, I'm assuming it's a man, has been caught short, and instead of using one of the many facilities en route, has chosen to relieve himself. Empty an empty bottle of Coke, empty bottle of water that he's had in the car, and then just casually fling it out of the window. Now, I assume it's a man. I know it's a man, because women can't do it. And I know women can't do it because I've tried. Twin jets. Just goes all over your hand. Sure, if you want half it to go up your fucking cardi sleeve, go for your life. But I think even if I could do it, and I can't, but I think even if I could do it, I don't think I'd litter it. I think I'd save it for the next garage and I'd pour it down the toilet like a civilised person. But knowing my luck, I'd get caught by the fella on the till. He'd be like, where are you going with that bottle of Lucozade? I'd end up having to pay for it. And then just to throw him completely off the scent, I'd have a playful swig on the way back to the car. How did you open that Mars bar so quickly? Oh, that's a lovely, no. But I moved to the countryside a couple of years ago. I think it's a countryside, I don't know for sure. The reason I think it's a countryside is that every now and again, outside smells of shit. That's how you know, isn't it? It's quite a well-to-do area we've moved to in which we do not belong in the slightest. I know it's a well-to-do area because I said to my husband, it's a bit chilly in here. And he said, oh, should we turn the floor up? That's not right, is it? And about 10 minutes later, I said, look, the cats are dancing. He said, oh, bugger, turn it down. But presumably you all know that if I was in Downton Abbey, you all know I'd be downstairs, yes? Yes, good, no, I'm glad. It made it all the more weird when a man buzzed the buzzer and I answered, hello, and he said, are you the lady of the house? And I thought, I don't know. And I said to him, I'm a lady in a house, if that helps you, flower. And then he spent the next 10 minutes trying to sell me stuff off the back of his van. It took me 2 of those minutes to realise that a nursery could also sell plants. I was just thinking, where the fuck have I moved to? Where they're going door to door selling beans off the back of a van. And I'm not very decadent, I'm not flashy at all. Having said that, I do regularly have 3 jars of jam all on the go at the same time. There's no need for that, is there? They're all strawberry. Makes no fucking sense at all. But I'm just the same promise you, the first thing I do in the morning is exactly what you do, I'm sure of it. First thing I do in the morning, I set the staff to work. That's what I call it when I put the washing machine, the tumble dryer and the dishwasher all on at the same time. And I think, well, they're all working, I'm going to have a biscuit. There's a few of you looking at me like, have you got staff? No, I've just explained, and don't worry, they're all white. It's not just the two of us in the house, we've got pets, we've got 2 cats and a dog. I would say that the cats are adorable, but I would be lying. One of the cats, Ripley, little girl cat, hasn't got a bad bone in her body. She's incredibly sweet. Brody, boy cat, 70% adorable, 30% bit of a twat, really. We took them, and you can't judge me on this, even though I suspect you're going to. We took them to see a cat behaviourist. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. But the best thing about going to see a cat behaviourist is that for £30, I could talk to a lady about my cats for an hour, and she couldn't leave. But as soon as we finished with her, we needed to go and see the vet, because Brody, the one that's a bit of a twat, needed an injection, and I knew what was going to happen. I knew the vet was going to put him on the scale, and the vet was going to say that he's a bit overweight. He is a bit overweight. We're all a bit overweight in our house. But if we stand in a line, you can't tell. That's how perspective works. But exactly what we thought would happen happened. The vet put him on the scale. The vet said he was overweight. The words had barely escaped the vet's mouth when Brody just bit him. And I thought, good on you, son. You bite the fucking hand that doesn't feed you. But the cats do sometimes chase each other around. It can look a little aggressive, so every now and again we try and sort of distract them, sort of break that up. What we do is we use a laser pen. You will have seen these. So the cats will be chasing each other around, then one or both of them will become transfixed by a little red dot that has appeared on the ceiling or the walls or the floor. And it's so effective that we started using it in our own relationship. So I'll be saying something like, all I want you to do when you finish with your wet towels is put them in the fucking ooh, ooh. But we have become very cavalier about noises in the house. Give us a woo if you are a cat owner. Don't know if you're the same as us. Every single time we hear a noise in the house, we just dismiss it as the cats. Ah, that'll be the cats. Could be fucking anything. And it made me wonder, you know those people who think they've got a poltergeist? What if they've just forgotten they've got a cat? And Derek Akora comes round the next day with his camera crew and says, tell me all about your poltergeist. And you go, well, first of all, he pushed that lamp off that shelf. And then it did a poo in that little tray. But whenever you introduce a new cat into a household that already has a cat, there's always a bit of aggro, isn't there? While they work out the hierarchy, then it settles down. The day that I knew our two were going to be okay with each other was the day that I walked into our bedroom and they were lying on the bed like that. They weren't quite spooning, but it was good enough for me. And I climbed on behind them. Big mama spoon's getting on. I'll be the ladle. I don't know what that means. And for about 2 minutes, it was utter perfection. And then Brody leaned over to Ripley, just started licking her arsehole. Don't think Mama Spoon's supposed to be here for this bit. But she was brilliant. She was lying with her legs shut like that. As soon as he started licking her arsehole, she went, ah, that's lovely. Who's also a cat owner offered some advice. She said there's a way you can bond with your cat, and I thought that's worth a try with Brody because we don't always get on. And some of the cat owners might already be aware of this. What you do to bond with your cat is you wait till your cat's all settled, you know, when they've got all their legs underneath them and they look a bit like a chicken, like that. And then you catch their eye, you do a slow blink at them. And if they do a slow blink back at you, then you've bonded, you've connected. And I thought it's worth a try. So I waited until Brody was all settled, had all his legs underneath him, looked like a chicken. Tried to catch his eye, which was tricky because he doesn't really like me, so he just kept looking at me. Eventually caught his eye, and I did a slow blink at him. And when I opened my eyes, he'd gone. It's not just the cats, we've got a dog now as well. We've got a dog slightly over a year ago. He's a rescue dog, and he is genuinely the light of my life. He really is. He was in kennels for a year while his owner was ill, and then sadly his owner passed away, and he was moved across to the Dogs Trust, which is where we got him from. And I realised only recently that every now and again I'll say a sentence to him that I've definitely said before, just not to a dog. The first one I noticed, I was stroking him and he was clearly enjoying it, and I said, "Ah, you like that, don't you?" And the most recent one was when I said to him, "Okay, you can lick me fingers when I've finished." First time we went to the Dogs Trust, he hadn't arrived yet. We didn't even know he existed at this point. We just went for a visit. And the branch we chose happened to be quite a new one. It was quite posh and shiny inside. And it was sort of glass enclosure after glass enclosure all the way along. And it felt really familiar to me, but I'd never been in any dog's home, let alone that specific one, so it was odd that it felt so familiar. Even when I got home, it was still niggling. And then I realised, I twigged. It's because I've been to Amsterdam. Huh. The first one was like a dog on its own, and then the second one was two dogs together, probably a bit more expensive. And then a dog playing with some toys. And then a dog sucking a cock. I mean, it was his own, but I think it still counts, yes? Yes. But I like to sing to the dog. I sing to the dog quite a lot. I went through a weird period of my life. I didn't really sing very much. My ex-husband didn't like my singing, and he used to put his hand up and say, "That sounds awful, please stop." So I just gradually didn't sing. And I realised it sounds like one of those sob stories that they do on The Voice or X Factor, doesn't it? "Oh, and all of me nanas are dead," one of those. I mean, all of me nanas are dead, but I'm 41. That's sort of how it works. Unless you've got a family of slags. Some of you have. Sorry about that. Forgot where I was for a second. And, but about a year after that relationship ended, I caught myself singing in the shower, and I thought, that's back, that's nice, that's good. So I sing to the dog quite a lot. There's certain songs that I can't sing to him because he finds them very confusing. I'll give you an example. Now, I could see quite a lot of you, and it looks to me that a lot of you are my sort of age, maybe a little bit older, so you might know the song by Shawaddy Waddy, "Under the Moon of Love." Do you know that? Okay. So this is a song that I used to sing to him, but there's a point that he gets very confused, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is him walking. So I go, "Let's go for a little walk under the moon of love. Let's sit." Huh? He's been so well trained by his previous owner that every time I said the word sit, he would stop dead in the middle of the walk and look at me like, "What now?" Other songs I can't sing, quite a few of them I can't sing. "Walk this way, walk like an Egyptian. These boots are made for walking. Park life, that fucks them up." "Stay Another Day" by East 17, because you will not fucking move. And Michael Jackson's "Heal the World," but mostly because he just finds it really touching. Well, we got some dog books. Never had a dog before, so we thought we should learn how to look after dogs, so we got some dog books. But the dog books don't teach you everything, they just tell you the basics. You have to learn quite a lot of it on your own. Some of the things we learned on our own include, like, I knew that when you did a poo, I had to pick it up and bag it. I've just realised I mean that the other way around. I meant bag it and pick it up, clearly, that's what I meant. I knew that I had to bag it and pick it up. I've seen people do that in the park, I know how the world works. And I also knew that when I picked it up, it would smell. It's a shit, I'm not a fucking idiot. But what I was not prepared for was the heat. It was quite a mixed emotion for me, because half of me is dry retching at the warmth in my hand. And the other half is reminded what it's like when you get a pasty that's just right from Greg's. Second thing I didn't learn from a dog book is that if you're on your dog walk and you've got a full poo bag, so you haven't found a bin yet, you should always keep the full poo bag in the same hand as the dog lead. It's very important to have a spare hand at all times. I learnt this the hard way, walking along with a full poo bag in one hand, a dog lead in the other. And then my glasses started to slide down my nose. Nobody needs a turd to clunk off their cheek, do they? And the third thing I didn't learn from a dog book, I knew one of his jobs, one of his tasks, if you like, was to keep his bits and bobs nice and clean. You know, his, let's call it his gentleman's area. I knew that was one of his jobs, keep them nice and clean. I did not know how regularly he would do it, how thoroughly he would do it, or how fucking loudly he would do it. Until I got a dog, I had no idea what it sounds like when a cock's being sucked over there. He had a few accidents when we first got him. We think he'd forgotten some of his house training, and it's entirely expected, being in kennels for so long. So he had a few wheeze and poos in the house. We just cleaned them up as we were retraining him, not a big deal at all. And then one day I had a really horrible thought, and I said to my husband, what do we do? What do we do if he has diarrhea in the house? And my husband had a little think, and he said, sort of depends which room it is, because maybe we could just shut a door. I love the idea of people coming around going, I thought you had a spare room here. No, we've never had a spare room. That's just a big cupboard full of fucking shite. But the dog's tail, when we got him, was entirely bald. His tail was entirely bald. It looked like a rat's tail, and we didn't know why. Is it because he's a crossbreed and that's just what they're like? Or we were led to believe it could be quite stressful for dogs to be in kennels for that length of time. But 6 or 7 months later, it became apparent what it had been, because by then it had fully grown in. It looks like an excellent feather duster now. We made fur with love. Isn't that nice? I'm going to stop worrying so much about me tash now. Clearly, I'm just loved. My toes are really fucking loved. One of my friends said to me, you know, you talk about having hairy toes? I said, yeah. She said, you just mean the 2 big ones, don't you? I said, okay. No. Goes all the way along. Sometimes the little toe has more hair than fucking nail. You are welcome for that visual image I've just given you all. Take that home, pop that in your wank banks for laters. But we took the dog to the vet quite early on. The vet said he's a bit underweight. I had to get the vet to say that word a couple more times because I'd not heard it before. The vet said you can fatten him up. I thought, good, because we're smashing at that at our house. And then I thought, when we stand in the line, then he'll blend in, you know, because we clearly do that a lot, like the fucking Von Trapps. The vet said, don't worry if he's even overweight. I said, is that okay? He said, yeah, because then if he's ever ill, he's got a little bit of weight he can afford to lose. And the vet referred to it as padding against illness. I said, how come no doctors ever suggested this to me? I reckon I could have 6 weeks of sickness and diarrhea and still not be able to get in anything in Topshop. The dog didn't know how to play when we first got him. It was very sad to see, and we'd throw a ball he didn't understand. We got all sorts of toys, he didn't get any of it. It was really sad. And then one day my husband was getting ready for bed, and as he pulled off one of his socks, the dog jumped up and grabbed it. And they had a little game. It was so nice to see the dog play. On further investigation, we've discovered that the dog doesn't like clean socks. Only likes the ones my husband refers to as meaty. Also doesn't like my socks, which I suppose is a compliment, because I guess it means they're not very meaty, but I was still quite hurt by that. But I'm nothing if not competitive in love. And I thought, what could I throw at him that'd be worse than socks? I love how quick you are. And I did exactly what you think I did. I throw my pants at him and he fucking loves it. With him on his head like he scored a goal. I've always been a big animal lover. This is the first time I've ever had a garden as an adult, and I was always quite a grubby child. I used to pick up worms and plant seeds and that sort of thing. And when we first moved in, we decided we were going to try and encourage as much wildlife into the garden as possible. And we did a number of things. The first thing we did, we got a bird table. We put various things on the bird table. We put fat balls on it. Fat balls. Just really like saying it. Fat balls. Say it after 3. 1, 2, 3. Sounds a bit like an old nickname of an ex-boyfriend, doesn't it?
Well, I guess who also down Asda's on Tuesday, fucking fat balls.
We put fat balls on it. We also put nut bags on it, which was his other nickname. And that worked. You know, within a couple of days, we had all sorts of birds on there. Robins, which surprised me. I genuinely had no idea that robins were a year-round bird. I thought they rocked up late October, did a couple of photo shoots for the Christmas cards, and then just fucked off. Got the bird table, we got a pond put in to try and encourage some insects and maybe some frogs and things like that. The first wildlife we found in the pond is not what we'd hoped for or expected. It was just a rabbit face down, floating dead. I was as upset as you are. I was absolutely distraught. And I said to my husband, did we cause this? He said, how could we cause this? I said, well, was the rabbit running along going, there's normally grass here, there's normally grass here, there's normally grass here. Ah, shit. And my husband, quick as a flash, just went, no, rabbits are really good swimmers. I said, that's not a fact. I've not heard that before. That's not a fact. I said, are you telling me this the same way my dad told me mum that mice can't climb stairs? Because they fucking can. But I was so upset, in order to cheer me up, we got the swing ball out. We had a couple of games of swing ball. If you're too young to know what swing ball is, it was a very early computer game. And it totally worked, it cheered me up, and I thought, if that's what I have to do when I see a dead rabbit, I hope I never see a dead body. I'll have to hire a bouncy castle. So we got the pond, we got the bird table, we started to buy carrots for the wild rabbits because we just felt bad that we'd killed one of their family. And the last thing we did, we got hedgehog food, because you have to buy specific hedgehog food these days. Back in the day, like in the 80s, you could just give them bread and milk, but now they're all like gluten intolerant or something. So we put all of these different kinds of foods out into the garden, and within 3 months, the garden was teeming with active life. It was absolutely glorious, but I still wasn't happy, like the grubby child in me was not satisfied. So I got all of those different kinds of foods, and I put them all at the front door to try and encourage animals to come closer to the house. And it worked, because now, whenever I'm at home and I sing, birds sit on my hands. And I don't have to do the dishes anymore, because the rabbits do those. They pass them across to the squirrels, who dry them with their big fluffy tails. And there's this one time that an old lady came to the front door and she offered me an apple, and I told her to fuck off. I like to think there might be 2 or 3 people in this room tonight who've never seen Snow White, who are like, what the fuck is happening right now? But I've got a question for you guys, and only join in if you want to. There's no pressure. We'll just have some fun. I'm not here to be mean to anybody. We'll just have a laugh. What I'll do is I'll ask you the question, then I'll buy you a little bit of thinking time. That's probably a good idea. So the question is this. I would like you guys to tell me what's the best thing you've ever seen in nature. Now, to buy a bit of thinking time, I'll tell you the 3 things that freak me out about living in the countryside. So the first thing that freaks me out about living in the countryside, you know pheasants? You know pheasants? Yeah? I don't know if you know, but there's 2 makes of them. There's the one that we all know, then there's another one that is upright and running around and alive. Second thing that freaks me out about living in the countryside, I can't always tell if it's an owl hooting or my husband's asthma. I woke him up one night because I thought I could hear an owl, and as soon as I woke him up, it stopped. Either that or a very distant ambulance. And the third thing that freaks me out about living in the countryside is that I sometimes forget that the television is reflected in the conservatory, and I think Eamon Holmes is in the garden. I mean, he's a lovely man, but he was not fucking invited. Now, probably the easiest way to chat to you guys is to kind of break you up into upstairs and downstairs, as you already are. So let's do upstairs. Anybody in the upstairs section, give us a woo if you've seen something good in nature. Oh, quite a few. Okay. Oh, one over here. There's a group of you over here. Any of you guys who wooed over here, shout out what you saw. You saw a whale? Do you know what kind of whale? A minke whale. Is that a thing? Yes. Okay, thanks, lady. They're very confidently went, yes, you fucking idiot. Yes. I know some ladies call that their minke. So I genuinely didn't know if that was a heckle or not. You minke whale. I thought it was just kosh for fat cunt. I really did. I really did. Where did you see the minke whale? She says on the stage, I'm gonna fucking kill you. in the English Channel. Is it not a very big whale then? Like, meters? 41. Can you do it in foot, love? How many feet? Does anybody know how much 3 meters is in feet? 10. Thank you. Look at that. There's no prizes, but if there was, you'd get one. 10 feet. That's still quite big then. Were you on a boat? Were you in the water? What was the situation? On a boat, so it wasn't too scary. No. Okay, good. Thank you for your minky whale. Give us another woo upstairs if you've got an answer. Yeah, one over here. Give us a wave. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Hello, love. What did you see?
Once on a safari in South Africa, I saw a family of elephants around our safari vehicle.
Wow, okay. First of all, I love that you told a story, because... No. Because sometimes people will shout out the whole story in one. One guy just shouted out, 3 dogs fucking in a row. What? And then other people go, it was a lovely day. I was wearing my favourite blouse. They're like, come on, move it along. So you were on safari. Where did you say you were on safari? In South Africa. And a family of elephants surrounded your safari vehicle. In a menacing way? Or in a hi kind of way? Were you scared?
It was very thrilling.
Thrilling. Was it so thrilling you shat your pants? I think I would have shat my pants, but I've got IBS. I might be doing it now. Who knows? Thank you very much. Great story, Flower. Thank you. Let's do downstairs. Give us a woo downstairs if you've seen something good in nature. At the back there, somebody waving the hand. What did you see?
Bengal eagle owl.
A Bengal eagle owl. It's 2 different things, isn't it? Was it an eagle or was it an owl? Make your mind up, Flower. So is that that's presumably a kind of owl as opposed to a kind of eagle. So it's an eagle-flavoured owl. Where did you see that, love? It was in a bird sanctuary. Is that nature? If they're technically in prison, is that nature? How big is it? Show us with your hands. About that? That's a decent size. Were you in the enclosure with it or just watching through the prison bars? Was it exciting to see? You were holding it with one of them oven gloves on, one of them. They do that. I'm going to Google that because I'd like to see what that looks like. It sounds magnificent. Thanks very much, love. Anybody else downstairs? Or what about over here? Over here? Anybody over here? Right in the front. What did you see, love? Baby dolphin. Oh, where were you when you saw the baby dolphin?
In Jamaica on a honeymoon.
Oh, you were on your honeymoon in Jamaica. How lovely. And was the baby dolphin with other dolphins?
Yeah, I was diving, it was purely...
You were diving?
We were diving, it was purely by chance, and they were taking it out to sea for the first time in the family.
So they were taking... Somebody over here is laughing because he was on his honeymoon and he was diving. That's what you're laughing at, isn't it? All of the rest of you are being really respectful and listening to Nice Man, and she's like, fannies are! To be fair, it's what you've come to expect from watching me on stage. Fair enough, I get it. And it was... So the baby one was being taken back out to sea? Not just with its family, though? Yeah, not just
Fuck off, move out. You're a fucking drain, you don't need to pay any board, no.
And how big was it? How big is a baby dolphin? I don't know.
I don't know, I suppose about that.
About that? Are they as smiley as they look on the television? I've never seen a dolphin.
I was too busy shitting myself.
You were too busy shitting yourself. But isn't that good for the wetsuit? Isn't that what oh no, that's wee, isn't it? They don't tell you to shit yourself in a wetsuit.
If you can get some diarrhea going, it really keeps you lovely and warm. Just don't let it come out the cuffs or the neck.
Anybody else downstairs? Lady with a lovely lipstick on. Hello. Oh, look, she went like this. Oh, me. What did you say, my love?
A seagull nicking my best mate's Nando's.
A seagull nicking your best mate's Nando's. And we come right crashing back down to Brighton, don't we? I like that, thank you. you. There was a lady recently said that she had a bird table and it was constantly being, there was this squirrel family were constantly eating everything off the bird table and chasing the birds away, which was upsetting her. So what she did, in her brilliance, she buttered the bird table. And then she said for the rest of the week, she just watched some squirrels pole dance. We had one man who'd seen an owl, a baby owl in the road, and he pulled over and he decided it was poorly, not dead, and decided he was going to try and take it home and take it somewhere the next day to look after it. So he balanced it on his lap for a bit of warmth while he was driving along. It started to come round, so he put it smartly, moved it across to the passenger seat, and then it fully came round, and he realised in that split second that he had a live owl in an enclosed space. And it continued to lacerate his face and arms to the point where he had to open the window and just throw the fucking thing out. But I asked this question in Canada. I was working in Canada and I did a show there, and I sort of casually forgot that they'd have an entirely different set of wildlife there. And one lady, really posh lady, she said, kayaking with a pot of orca. I said, there are 6 words in that sentence and I don't know what 3 of them are. And one lady said that her dog was barking. She went downstairs to see what her dog was barking at. And in her kitchen was a fully grown grizzly bear. I know, it just let itself in her back door. Not like that sounded bad, not like that. Like that, not like, woo! Don't know what the mime is. But one of my favourite ones, we were in Leeds a few months ago, and I said, what's the best thing you've seen in nature? And the lady shouted out, a Dalmatian! And I thought, oh, bless her, she's not really understood the question. And then she said, humping a pony. I was like, there you go, there's your story. I said, where did you see that? She said, Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I said, did you watch it for very long? She said, no, not long, I was on a roller coaster. What the fuck's happening down there? One of the main differences I noticed when I moved to the countryside, having lived in the city centre for so long, is that power cuts last a lot longer. So the first power cut we had in the countryside lasted 26 hours. I'd never experienced anything like that before. And we realised by 6 p.m. the power wasn't going to come back on, so we just prepared for a night without it. Now, luckily, my husband is quite a Bear Grylls. I know. So he went foraging for curry. Before he left, he said to me, don't waste the battery power on the torches. I said, OK. He said, just light a few candles. Now, I'm not a very girly girl, so candles are never something I would especially buy for myself. But luckily, I've got loads of friends who don't know me at all. I've got shitloads of scented candles. So I lit a few, and by the time my husband came back in, I was relaxed, horny, and excited for Christmas. I seem to have acquired that I would never buy for myself is sticks in a jar. Have you seen this? Sticks in a jar? Sticks in a jar? Does anybody know what the proper name is? Reed diffuser. A few of you shouted out at the same time. Thank you. If you don't know what it is, it's just a jar that has perfume in it, and the reeds or the sticks carry the perfume up, make the room smell nice. I didn't know any of this when this was given to me as a present. It reminded me quite a lot of the incense sticks that my friend had when I visited her at university, so I nearly lit the fucking thing. Almost accidentally created a Joe Malone Molotov cocktail. There's quite a few girly things I can't really partake in. For example, I can't have anything in the bath that isn't me or the water. I can't have bath bombs, bath oil, bubble bath, bath salt, can't have any of those things. If I have any of those things, it makes down there raw. I mean both spellings, like R-A-W, sort of red and angry and shiny, and also just no. Pretty sure that's what the Katy Perry song is about. It's like that old pub joke, you know that old pub joke, you'll know this. 2 monkeys in the bath, one of them goes, hoo, 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 and the other one goes, oh, sorry, I forgot you had a really sensitive vagina. Do you know that one? But that sentence I said there, if you say that I've got a really sensitive vagina. I meant that in like a practical way just then. But you could also say that at kind of sexy time, couldn't you? You've got to be careful of those sentences that on paper look like the same thing. Here's another one. Got to be careful. I'm not wearing any knickers. Because I've got a touch of thrush and I'm trying to get a bit of air round. But I've got a friend who's in her 60s and she said to me, I used to be like you with the bath bombs and whatnot. I said, used to be? What's changed? She said, oh, well, when you get to my age, you can have whatever you like in the bath because it's all dead down there. That is a small upside to a big downside, isn't it? I have no feeling whatsoever in my vagina, but finally I get to go to Lush. A long time ago, I was reading one of those books. You know those books that are ostensibly a romance, but have a couple of pages of filth in the middle, a smashing? I was reading one of those, and on one of the pages of filth, the lady of the book poured some champagne on herself. And the man of the book drank the champagne off her. And me and my boyfriend at the time, this is 20 years ago, decided we were going to have a go at this. We couldn't afford champagne, so we bought some Lambrusco. And I had forgot that the lady in the book was lying flat. I was sitting upright, just poured it on, it ran straight in. Smarted like a motherfucker. I told that story to a friend of mine recently and she said, is that why you don't drink? No. Not once when somebody's asked me why don't I drink have I answered because it hurts me fanny. Ah, you're doing it wrong then. You don't have to take the cork out like that. It was a screw cup. Imagine the skills I need for a screw cup. But I had to talk to one of my neighbours recently. Wasn't planning on doing that for sort of ever, really. Gives a cheer if you talk to your neighbours? Gives a cheer if you don't? I had to talk to my neighbour because we share a septic tank. Now, if you don't know what a septic tank is, the fact that my neighbour refers to it as a sewerage tank should give you a good indication of what's in it. I've never seen the septic tank. It's on her side of the fence. I imagine they're in the ground. Is that right? Does anybody know? Yeah, thank you. I didn't know that. So in my mind, I pictured it as like a skip on a drive with a lid on. So when she came round to tell me it was nearly full, because my neighbour's quite little, I pictured her like lifting the lid on her tippy toes. Oh, her IBS is playing up again, Gerald. Push that one back in, it's bobbing out. I do have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I also have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I like to put those collections of letters at the end of my name and pretend I went to university. So people think that I'm educated rather than regularly shitting my barren self. One of my friends said to me, she said, I can't always tell if you're about to tell me a secret or you're sneaking out a fart. Got no secrets. All farts. What you do find, though, if you have IBS and you're having a bad bout of IBS, your farts are so horrific that if you do one in a room where there are other people, you don't get the traditional response of people kind of muttering to each other, has somebody just, can you smell? Has somebody just... That's what happens. What happens is somebody puts their hand on your arm and says, are you all right? But I went for a walk a couple of months ago with a friend of mine. Lovely walk we were having, but I had really bad guts that day. Really bad. And I did a fart, and I knew it was a bad one because it was hot. And I thought I'd got away with it. But then my friend sort of looked up and sniffed at the same time. Like a quizzical Bisto kid. And then she looked at me and she went, are we near a zoo? I had piles once, and I think most families have an area of medical expertise, you know, so maybe you've all got bad backs, so you know the tablets to take, the exercises to do, that sort of thing. With my family, it's arseholes. Where they They're lovely people, but wow, they are good with the bowel. And the day that I realised I had piles, I rang my dad, because he's my arsehole phone a friend. And I told him what was going on, and he said, right. And I thought, this is what dads do, isn't it? That's what they say before they fix things. Right. And he went, what you need? Baths as hot as you can stand them, anus cream on the rest of the time. He said, thank you. And I hung up. I rang him back like 20 minutes later. I said, I'm having some trouble. He said, what kind of trouble are you having? I said, I can't really see what I'm doing. He said, I don't know what you mean. I said, well, I'm not supple enough to do it that way, and I've got too much here to be able to get access through there. And he went, right. And I thought, again, he's going to fix it. And he said, what you need is one of those mirrors that the police use for looking for bombs under cars. The day that I realised I had piles, I was meeting a friend for lunch. And I'm so rubbish at keeping secrets that she'd barely said hello, and I just blurted it out, I've got piles! And her response is the best response you can ever hope for if that happens to you in the future. Because I went, I've got piles! And she went, so have I! And we high-tended and went in the pub. And I was out shopping with a friend of mine a few months ago, just having a nice shop. It was a bit chilly out, so we decided to get some takeaway teas just to carry around with us as we went. And we went into this cafe, we stood in a queue. Quite quickly I realised the man behind me in the queue I knew, not very well, but enough to say hello to. And very quickly he offered to buy my tea for me. And I was immediately transported back to my sort of 18-year-old self. My mum had ingrained in me to never accept a drink of somebody you don't know really well, especially a man, because you'll probably want something in return. So I immediately went back with a very aggressive no. And then I thought, maybe I'm being a bit unfair. Maybe it's a different situation. Me, 18 in a nightclub, me, 41 in a cafe with me friend. It's daylight, we're getting teas, we're taking them away. Maybe this is different. But when he offered again, go on, let me buy your tea for you, all I could think of was, what's he gonna want in return? And then I thought, it's £1.70, probably just a flick at the end. He's a nice man, but he's quite sincere. And he said to me, for all of the joy that you bring people, let me buy your tea for you. And I said, just a tea, just a fucking tea. All the joy, all the fucking joy. So I got a muffin as well. Flick, flick. But I had to go to the doctors. I had a sore throat for a bit too long and I went to see my doctor. My doctor said I'm going to send it to see a specialist, an ear, nose and throat specialist. I said, okay. So I forgot to see this fella, lovely fella he was. He said to me, do you suffer from acid reflux? And I said, no. And then when I got home, I thought I should have said yes, because I realised that my husband and I eat so many Rennies that we call them bathroom sweets. And he said to me, I'd like you to take Gaviscon after every meal. I said, after every meal, every time I've eaten, because those two are very different numbers. He said, ideally, I'd like to put a camera down your throat so we can have a look at what we're dealing with. I said, okay. And I thought, this is the bit where he sends me away and I come back in 6 months with a new appointment. And he went, no, we can do that now. Oh, shit. So he came out with this contraption, metal like this and metal like this. The main thing you need to know is that it's very rigid, none of it moves. So I have to move because it won't move. And he puts it down my throat and I instantly gagged. And he pulled it out and he said, are you going to be okay with this? And I said, yes. And he put it back in, again. I was mortified. He said, do me a favour, the next time you think you're going to gag, do this. I said, why? He said, it stops you gagging. And I thought, noted. My husband's going to think he's being sucked off by a Geordie pensioner. And who knows, someday he might be. No, I mean that will be pensioners. I don't mean like for a present. Coming in, Doris, he's ready for his gift now. Happy birthday to him. I've been trying to think of different things that I've done since the last time I was on tour. And one of those things is that I got married. Oh, thanks. And there's obviously loads of things I love about my husband. I'll tell you a couple of them. One of the things I love about my husband is that one time, when he went food shopping, he came home with 18 tins of custard. Now, who doesn't love that? But I did question the amount. I said, why 18 tins? He said there was an offer on. He fucking loves a bargain. was the offer? He said, buy one, get one free. I said, still, why 9 tins? I only had one banana. And I didn't want to eat it on its own, because then it's fruit, not pudding. That's no good, is it? But I chose to say it a different way. I thought maybe this is a longevity thing. Maybe he thinks we're going to be together a long time. 18 tins of custard long. Turns out 18 tins of custard only lasts a fortnight. Another thing I love about him is that he is as good with children as I am, which is not at all. We don't have many friends who have kids because mostly we try and shake them off. I'm sure you've got kids and I'm sure they're smashing, but I'm glad you've left them at fucking home. Presumably so are you. My husband has a friend, they've been friends since they were teenagers, and this particular friend has a little boy who's that sort of age. I'm going to say 5, but it's very much a guess. And this little boy is always there every time my husband visits his friend, because he hasn't got a job or anything yet. The last time my husband visited his friend, the little boy said to him, will you read my book, please? So polite, so polite. My husband said, of course I will. So the little boy handed his book to my husband, and my husband read the book in his head. This is how shit we are with kids. Silently flick through the pages. Passed it back to the little boy. Said, do you think that little boy was giving you a recommendation? But we were on a train, my husband and I, quite recently, sitting opposite each other. Very busy train, very packed with loads of people. And I needed to tell him something, but I didn't want to say it out loud because a lot of people are around. So I thought, I'm going to try and just say it with my face, not use any words at all, just get the message across a different way. Now, we've only been married for 2 years, but we've been together for 10. Give us a cheer if you're in a long-term relationship. So you guys will know especially well that you can often get a message across with just your face, can't you? I thought, that's what I'm going to do. Now, the thing I needed to tell him was that I was feeling a bit horny. Hence not wanting to say that out loud, so I'm going to use my face. Now, I'm going to do the face that I did for him. I'm going to do that face for you. But I've got a slight problem in that I haven't figured out how to make it work in as wide a room as this. So upstairs and at the back, you'll all be fine, but right on the edge here, you might struggle to say apologies in advance. But for the rest of you, this is the face that I did to my husband on a busy train to let him know that I was feeling a bit horny. This is the face. Straight away because we've got a really deep connection. I was going to say I've got bad self-esteem. That's not strictly true. I've got bad body image. Very different thing. My self-esteem is fine because I think I'm good at things. I think I'm a good person. I think I'm a good friend. And I think I'm pretty good at my job. But also I've got skills. I can peel a satsuma while I'm driving a car. I can draw a passable budgie. And I can do a horn noise with my mouth, like this, like that. Self-esteem is fine. Body image is bad, always has been. It's all of this that I don't like and never have. To give you an idea of how bad it is, I was asked to do a photo shoot for a magazine with a degree of kudos. They had an impressive photographer at the ready. They had wardrobe, hair, makeup, all that sort of stuff. And they said to me, we can do anything you like. And I turned it down because I couldn't think of any way that they could make me look nice. Now, I've been trying to work out where this might have come from, how it started. I don't think it came from my parents or my childhood. My parents have always been incredibly supportive and encouraging. It was my dad that told me I could draw a passable budgie in the first place. But they've always been very encouraging. They always told me I was funny and clever and pretty, all of these things. I remember being 18 and I was going out on a Saturday night with the girls, all dressy dress. And as I came down the stairs, my dad popped his head out of the living room door and he said, mind if I was 30 years younger. Now, I know what he's doing, but it's creepy, isn't it? And also, I worked it out. If he'd been 30 years younger, he'd have been 13. That's not good either. I think the main thing that might have instigated this feeling I've always had about myself is something that happened to me when I was 13. It was the first time I was allowed downtown, so down at the South Shields town centre where I'm from, on my own. I went straight from school, I got off the bus at the marketplace, I'm still in my school uniform, and the market had closed for the day, but all that was left were like the bare bones of the market stalls, the long wooden slats and the big metal poles, and a couple of fellas who were dismantling the market stalls and loading them onto a wagon. I walked around those fellas, and not wide enough as it happened, because as I walked around them, one of the fellas swung one of the big metal poles so close to my face that I felt the air move, and I stood in shock. I'm 13 and in my school uniform, and instead of apologising to me, he came right up to my face and he said, "It wouldn't have made any difference." Now, I'd love to say we found him and we've brought him here tonight, and we're all going to kill him with poles. Your weapons are under your seats, you know, like a fucked up opera. But sadly, that is not the case. To be fair, though, he was mid-60s at the time, so it's safe to assume he's already dead. Hooray! To give you an idea of what I was like at school, I was very quiet at school, I was very bookish, I was good at school, I was in top class for everything, I wasn't popular at school, I didn't have many friends, and at various points I didn't have any friends. All I need to tell you is this: at the age of 12, I invited my maths teacher to my birthday party. Wasn't even my birthday party, it was my sister's birthday party, and my mum said I could bring a friend if I liked, and she is who I chose. And she came, and she was an absolute delight. She made sure the cake was all evenly divided. At the age of 14, we did this thing at school, they called it a career questionnaire. They sat us in front of the one computer that our school had at the time. The keyboard was the size of a fucking tabletop. Spacebar. And individually, we were to answer several questions with yes or no answers, and at the end, the computer program would spit out what it thought you should do for a living. So I sat there, answered several questions, yes or no answers, and at the end, the job it thought I should do was a long-distance lorry driver. Now, I can't remember what those questions were, but I've been having a think, and I've come up with 3. Do you like pasties? Yes. Do you like Yorkies? Yes. Would you be okay with one brown arm? Yes. Now, a few years ago, a girl from school emailed me via my website, and I'd like to read that email to you now, if I may. So it starts, "Hi, Sarah. Before you think, who the hell is this writing to me? I used to be Lynn Turner. Well, I suppose in a way I still am, but my name changed when I got married, not just my waistline. I just had to write and get in touch after hearing you on Radio 5 and then spotting you on ITV. You look great, you've hardly changed, how are you doing? I've just been looking at your website, it all looks amazing. I was watching the TV on Saturday night with my husband and 2 boys and you appeared. Thanks, Sarah, you've actually done my street cred the world of good. My boys, aged 11 and 10, are very impressed that Mum went to school with someone famous. We were talking about it all night. Do you ever get back home to South Shields? I hardly ever get back there. I moved down south when I was 21. I'd met my husband, a southerner, and we set up home in Romford. He travels with his job, so we've been lucky enough to live all over the world. We next moved to Denmark, where I gave birth to Giles, and then moved on to Rome, where I gave birth to Harvey. Family complete, we moved to the Middle East. We moved from there to Monaco. We moved from there to Monaco, then The Hague, followed by a 3-year stint back up north in Jesmond, before eventually settling down in leafy Hampshire. We've lived here for 4 years now, so life is as settled as it gets. I decided I had to do something else with my life and went back to work last year as a teaching assistant. I'd really love it if you could find the time to write and get in touch, or if you're down this neck of the woods, it'd be great to see you again. Take care, Lynn. She was one of my bullies. She wasn't a punchy bully, she was a psychological bully. She used to try and fuck me up, I suppose. I remember one time she came up to me in the playground and she said to me, "Did you write into Just 17 this week?" And I went, "No." And she went, "Oh, well, thought you had," and off she flounced. So on the lunch break, I went to the newsagent and I bought a copy of Just 17. Now, if you don't know what Just 17 is, it's a magazine that you read until you're 15. If you're still reading it at 17, something has gone horribly wrong. Because now you should be reading more magazine and learning about the positions of the fortnight. And just so you know, I've got a wheelbarrow now. Doesn't look anything like that. So I'm standing outside of the newsagent with a copy of Just 17. I flick to the problem page, and on the perimeter of the problem page are all problems about sex. And I knew she wouldn't think that was me. But right dead centre, right in the middle, was a problem entitled, Am I a Boring Square? She made me buy my fucking insult. So I replied to her email. Now, you've got to be careful with this. You've got to be careful, because I might have misremembered things. I might have been overly sensitive at the time. But also, I didn't want to give her anything that she could fling back in my face and say, you're wrong. So this is all I sent, just the one line. Hello, Lynn. To be honest, I probably won't reply any more fully than this, as I don't remember you very favourably. At school was like an ugly duckling revelation moment. We all know the story of the ugly duckling, don't we, that becomes the beautiful swan. So it was never an ugly duckling, was it? It was always a perfectly lovely cygnet. Which is what the book should have been called. The perfectly lovely cygnet and his rubbish time with the shitty ducks. But people think the moral of that story is don't judge something because it might be wrong. I don't think that's the moral. I think the moral is don't be mean to anything because it might grow up to steal your chips and break your arm. But if not an ugly duckling moment, there may be a plain Jane Superbrain moment. Now, the only people who are going to get that reference are about my age and watch Neighbours growing up. If you don't know who plain Jane Superbrain was, she's just a girl called Jane who wore glasses. And then one day, they took her glasses off her. They put her in a taffeta dress. And then everyone wanted to fuck her. Even Helen Daniels. That's not how glasses work, though, is it? It's not how glasses work. It's not, is it? You haven't all been looking at me tonight going, no, I really don't fancy her at all. Fucking hell I would, fucking hell I would. Not even a twinge, not even a twin. Fucking hell, I'd shove it in any hole she'd let us. It's not how glasses work. I've got a good duck fact for you. You might not know this. The duck penis is a corkscrew. So if you ever see a couple of ducks trying to have sex in the park, just give them a hand. Just give them a hand. And you know when he's finished, because his wings will go up like that. One thing I hadn't realised as it became a bit more known and a bit more in the public eye is that in some ways that can feel a lot like being back at school, because now anybody who wants to can tell me that they think I look like shit, and regularly do. Now obviously social media is one of the main culprits, but for me another culprit has always been women's magazines. I hate women's magazines because I don't think they lift us up. I think they push us down. They show us an unrealistic ideal of what they expect us to be rather than embrace us for what we actually are, which is quite frankly fucking glorious. Proactive. I don't like to just complain and do nothing about it. I set up my own online women's magazine. It's called Standard Issue Magazine. Please have a look at it when you get home. Oh, well, bless you, thank you. And it's for you. It's free and it's for you. And the rule is no bullshit. That is the rule. No bullshit. Because I hate it when women's magazines say things like, we're going to teach you about the thigh gap. And you think, I know what the thigh gap is. It used to be called fucking rickets. Or when they say, we're going to teach you how to keep a man. I don't need to know how to keep a man. A married one, he's contractually obliged. But if this was a film, this would be the bit where there'd be a montage where you'd see how things are improving with my body image. There's no film, but I'll talk you through the montage. I did a few things. The first thing I did, I started to look at my face in the mirror without any makeup on. And I did that a lot, to the point where now, when I look at my face in the mirror without any makeup on, I think, it's just your face. There's nothing wrong with it, which is a huge change for me. Second thing, started to buy clothes online. So no longer do I go into a shop, pick some clothes to try on, take them into a tiny cubicle with an ill-fitting curtain, office lighting, and a fucking circus mirror. And ultimately hand them back to a tiny specimen of a woman, like a mouse in hot pants. Who never says anything, but with her eyes is saying, oh, you're too fat for all the clothes now. What I do now is I order them online, they arrive at the house, I try them on, and if they don't fit, I have a fucking biscuit, because it doesn't fucking matter. And in the past, whenever the Special K advert came on the telly, you know, oh God, I always think she looks amazing in that swimming costume. You know what I do now when the Special K advert comes on the telly? I go like this. Oh, fuck off. You taste like shit. I'll stick to me Frosties, thanks. And I'll put some sugar on them and some jam and a fucking Jaffa cake if I want to. Fuck you. I've had a couple of indicators recently that things are improving with my body image. I'll talk you through them. The first one, I've got a friend who's a makeup artist, and I said to her, I get quite bad black rings under my eyes, often look a lot more tired than I actually am. I said, is there something that you could recommend that would sufficiently cover that up? She said, absolutely. She showed me this little pot of stuff. She said, this is really good, get one of these. I said, where can I get one of those from? She said, Harvey Nicks. And I thought, couldn't have been fucking Boots or Superdrug, could it? Couldn't have been Harvey Nicks. I hate those shops. I find them really intimidating. I find them patronising. But I thought, I want this stuff. I'm going to have to go in. But I'm going to make it the quickest transaction they've ever had. I'm just going to go in, you know, not like that. That looked aggressive, didn't it?
Bring on your patter, bitch, I'm ready.
I'd even taken a photo of the thing so I could show the lady, and that's exactly what I did. I went up to the relevant counter, and I said to the lady, can I have one of these, please, love? And I showed her the photo, and she said, no problem, no problem. And I thought, we're halfway there. And she said, I've just got to colour match you first. Before I could ask what the fuck colour matching actually was, she had me up on a stool so high I couldn't get off on my own. I was facing outwards, like facing the whole shop, and I thought, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, this is mortifying, oh my God, everybody's going to be able to say this is so embarrassing. And then I remembered it's Harvey Nicks, it doesn't matter because there's hardly ever anyone in, is there? It's like a museum for handbags. So she dabbed the stuff under my eye, she showed me it in a mirror, and I said, you know what, that looks champion, I'll have one of those. She said, no problem, again, no problem. And I thought, surely we're nearly done now. But this is the moment that she chose to wince at my face. Now, I wasn't wearing any other makeup apart from what she just dabbed under my eyes for two reasons. First reason, I was getting used to my face without makeup on, and I thought it looked all right. Second reason, I don't know if you know this, but you don't have to wear fucking makeup to go fucking shopping if you don't fucking want to. She winced at my face. Fuck knows what expression she was pulling underneath all of her layers of makeup to get that wince to punch its way to the surface. She must have been gurning so hard she nearly shot herself. She winced at my face and then she said, oh, can I just do the rest of your makeup before you go back out though, yes? And I was furious that she thought it was necessary. So I threw myself off the stool with quite a lot of force. But all I said was, oh, love, I couldn't give less of a shit. So that felt good. Second one, I was walking the dog only a few months ago, and a van approached, and the driver of the van was a man, maybe mid-50s, and his window was wound down. And as he approached me, he beeped his horn, beep, 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 and then made this noise. Whoa. When I got home, I said to my husband, that's never happened to me before. My husband said, I want you to think about that, and I want you to genuinely tell me if you think nobody has ever beeped their horn at you in the past. And I had a little think. With a degree of horror, I realised that he was absolutely right. But this is the first time I'd ever allowed it to be a compliment. In the past, when anybody beeped their horn at me, I'd always assumed they were saying, look at the fucking state of her, she's too fat for that dress, because these are exactly the sorts of things that were going on in my own mind. So technically, I suppose it is the first time it's ever happened to me. And I did respond in quite a peculiar manner. So he approached, beep, 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 whoa. And I went like this. I waved at him like I was a small child. Now, sometimes for fun, for a laugh, for japes, I like to imagine what happened when Lynn from school opened the email I sent her. I like to think that she gathered her family around, her husband who takes them abroad, and her kids, I can't remember their names, posh twat number 1 and posh twat number 2. I like to think she gathered them around and she said, Mummy's friend from school, the one off the television, she's replied, let's read the email all together as a family. And they open the email and they read the email. And her sons go, hold on a minute, were you a bully? Or is this why we have to keep fucking moving all the time? To summarise, I think the thing that I hate about school is very closely linked to the thing that I love about school. The thing I hate about school is the lack of social mobility. That whatever you go in as, especially the senior school, you are labelled as such and you are that for 5 years and there's nothing you can do about it. I was very much a nerd at school. Give us a cheer. Any other nerds at school? Any sporty types? Any slags? See, that's how unfair it is. You couldn't change. You could try and change. You could be a nerd and think, I'm going to try and become a slag. And you can try, but they'd still be like, yeah, no, she's sucking all those cocks behind the bike sheds, but you're still counting them on an abacus. But while that's what I hate about school, what I love about school is that when you leave, all of that disappears. You can do anything you like. You can be anyone you like. You don't even have to be friends with any of those fuckers ever again if you don't want to be. And who knows? Someday you might be able to peel a satsuma while you're driving a car. Or do a horn noise with your mouth. Or talk about your bully on stage and then send her the fucking DVD. You can buy it. I said before that I've been with my fella for 10 years. We agree on a lot of things, we disagree on some things. I think that's fine, I think that's healthy in a relationship. One of the things we disagreed on quite recently is my new theory. I have a new theory, and my theory is that I think that men retain different information to women. I think the information that men retain is what I would call useless. The information that women retain is much more useful. Now, I've devised a short quiz that I put to my husband, and I'm going to talk you through it now. There are 2 rounds in the quiz, the useless round followed by the useful round. There are 3 questions in each. If you happen to know any of the answers, please shout them out. We'll have a bit of fun. So, useless round, question number 1. Who was the manager of Aston Villa in 2005? Does anybody know?
David O'Leary.
Well done. Fucking hell. Well done, and thus proving my point fucking perfectly, Flower. My husband also got that correct. 1 to the audience, 1 to the husband. Question number 2. How far did the Dow Jones fall on the 19th of October, 1987? Anybody have a clue? There's a little, there's kind of chuntering. Did you hear that? Anybody want to guess? 1,000 what? Oh, bless you for knowing it. It's not 1,000 points, but bless you for knowing that it's points. It's 508 points. But I'm going to give you half a point for knowing that it's points, because the other day somebody shouted out something in feet and inches, like it actually... Half a point. My husband got it exactly right, which is terrifying. And the third and final question in the useless round, name the female doctor in Star Trek Next Generation Series 1. Anybody know? Crusher. Dr. Beverly Crusher, well done. So many of you knew that. So 2.5 to the audience and 3 to the husband. Now we move on to the useful round. The first question in the useful round, which one is the tumble dryer? My husband said it's the white one. I said they're all fucking white. Question number 2, how do you know when it's time to throw your underpants away? What was that? When the dog leaves them alone. My husband said it was a trick question because you never throw underpants away. The correct answer is when the elasticity is such that it looks like you're wearing a gym skirt. And the third and final question in the useful round, and indeed the entire quiz, how much praise should you get for unblocking a toilet that you yourself blocked? Fucking none. I sound like a nag, don't I? I don't think I'm a nag. Give us a cheer if you think you get nagged. I had a young couple in the front row a few weeks ago, and the fella said he got nagged by his wife who was sitting beside me. I said, what does she nag you for? He said, she nags me because I don't tidy up after myself. I said, you just not like tidying? He said, no. I said, can I tell you something? He said, what? I said, neither does she. And he went like this, he went, oh. Saved a marriage, you're welcome. I don't think I'm a nag, but maybe you guys can tell me otherwise. So, my husband isn't really interested in clothes, neither am I, especially that's not a big deal at all. But when he puts his jacket on, the collar's always turned in over. And I always have to go, love, flick your collar out. Your collar, and your jacket. Just flick it out. It's tucked in, it's tucked in. Your collar, it's tucked in. It's tucked in on your jacket, on your jacket, on your jacket. Just flick it out. Just do what I'm doing. Just do that. It's just tucked underneath. Just flick it out. Just flick it out. Your collar, on your jacket, on your jacket, on your jacket, just on your jacket, on your jacket. No, not your shirt, not your shirt. Your shirt's fine. Well, it's not now. You fucked it. Your jacket, on your jacket. It looks ridiculous. I just want you to look like somebody loves you. For fuck's sake, flick your fucking collar out. I can hear how horrible that sounds. So I've got a better approach. I think this is much more positive. This is what I do now. I go, love, and he goes, what? I go, do your impression of Fonzie, and he flicks it out and goes, hey. I get what I want. He thinks I like his impressions. That's good. But I read a survey that said that in heterosexual couples, men don't think that women initiate sex. And I thought, I don't think that's true. I think women initiate sex. I think maybe we don't call it that. Initiating sex sounds like something you do on a rocket, doesn't it?
Initiating sex. 5, 4, 3, 2.
I think women initiate sex. I think maybe men aren't always so good at picking up the signals. Maybe that's where the communication falls down. So a bloke would be like,
Yeah, she was lying on the bed. She had her hair all sort of fanned out on the pillow. She had a tiny towel on so I could basically see everything. And she just put lipstick on, which is weird because she just got out of the bath. But I decided to initiate sex. 5, 4, 3.
Can I just stop you there in the middle of a countdown, Flower? I started ages ago. You weren't even in the fucking room when I started. But you know that chat that you have sometimes before sex and occasionally during sex, that bit of chat? I think if you've been together a long time, that chat should come with terms and conditions attached, don't you think? So if you say something like, you can do whatever you want to me, what you really mean is, of the 4 things we normally do, within the parameters we've already set. But interesting, don't you think, that there's often chat before and during sex, but very little chat after sex, just sort of night, or like,
I'm going to have a piss as soon as this thing flattens.
that's it. Or maybe something like, ooh, get us a biscuit while you're up. Or even something like,
Is the dog still staring?
I turned 41 quite recently. I like being in my 40s. Gives a cheer if you're 40 and above. It's good, isn't it? Good. I like it a lot. I think I just don't give a shit about unimportant things anymore. A few things changed when I turned 40. One of the things that changed when I turned 40 is that I've stopped sniffing me leggings. I used to sniff them to see if I could get another day out of them. I just assume that I can. But I read on an official form, a proper document recently, the term women's problems. And I thought, really, women's problems in 2016? I thought, why doesn't it just say periods or menstruation? There's nothing wrong with those words. Just say there's nothing wrong with the actual thing. It's a perfectly normal and natural part of life, nothing to be ashamed of. Seems peculiar to me. So what I've decided to do, and you can come with me if you like, I've decided to bypass the word periods if people find it so offensive, and I'm going to say this instead. So somebody says to me, are you all right? I'm going to go,
Oh, I'm clotting.
see, the word periods isn't so bad now, is it? No. I think a lot of the euphemisms for periods are really horrible, so gross and such a bad reflection of how normal it is. So if clotting horrifies you, I get it. So I've made up another one. This is lighter, a bit more playful. Maybe this will appeal to you a bit more. This is it. It's WY week because I'm making jam. Do you get it? Do you get it? Some of you are more horrified by that. us. Sorry about that. I read a good statistic recently that said that 67% of women, so 2/3 of women, don't bath or shower every day. And because I bath or shower every day, my first reaction was, that's disgusting. And my second reaction was to start sniffing my friends. And my third reaction was, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not going to fucking do it. But to be fair, I mostly bath or shower every day. Every now and again, though, if I'm running late or I've got an early appointment or I've slept in, I'll do instead what my mum would refer to as a flannel job. Now, this is a tip for the women in the room who do have pubic hair. The next time you do a flannel job, if you do it in a circular motion, you can afro it right up. It's really fun. It's not a joke, it's just a tip for you to take home and try. And in a room of this size, at least be like 20, 30 women. They'll be like tomorrow morning going, I'm gonna have a go, I'm gonna have a go. Massive pants. Let me leave you on a daft story. I went for a massage. Give us a cheer if you've ever been for a massage. So I don't like the actual activity itself. I like the bit at the end, you know, where you feel all floppy and relaxed. And I'm like, I might never wear a bra again. I love that bit. I don't like the actual activity. I feel very uncomfortable being in front of a stranger just in my pants. So what happens is I book the massage. I get so stressed and tense on the build up to the massage that the best she can do at the massage is get me back down to the level of stress I was at before I booked the massage. Now, one thing they do that I don't like in a massage appointment is when they teach you how to breathe. They do that. Like, I'm 41. The breathing's been going pretty well. But they do that, don't they? They go, and breathe in. And breathe out. I could have died. I could have fucking died if I'd waited for her. The last massage I had, she said, this is an aromatherapy massage. I said, that's correct. She said, I've got 3 different oils. I'd like you to smell each one. Pick the one you like the best and we'll use that one. I said, champion. So she unscrewed the lid off the first one. She wafted it in front of my nose and I said, is that eucalyptus? Eucalyptus. Is it eucalyptus? Like a eucalyptus. Is it like a menthol? Like a menthol? Like a menthol? Is it menthol? Is it menthol? Is it like a menthol? Is it menthol? Is it mint? 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 She said, you don't have to guess what it is. Second one, she wafted in front of my nose, and I said, is that lemon? Is it lemon? Is it lemon? Is it lemon? Is it like a citrus? Like a citrus? Like a citrus? Like a sort of general sort of citrus? Is it citrus? Is it citrus? Is it citrus? Is it grapefruit? Is it grapefruit? Is it grapefruit? She said, it's not a quiz. The third one, she wafted in front of my nose. I didn't recognize the smell, but I did like it, so I chose that one. She said, good. She read the label. She said, that's happy. And I thought, no, I was never going to win the fucking quiz, was I? Now, my worst bit of a massage is the bit in a full-body massage where they make you turn over on the table, because the tables are very narrow, and I am not. But they do at least hold the towel up, don't they, so you can flubber over in private. Or so I fucking thought. The last one I had, she held the towel up, and I flubbered over. I was almost in position when our eyes locked in the mirrored wall at the end of the room. My friend said to me, that's not my worst bit of a massage. I said, what's your worst bit? She said, I don't like the bit where they pull your knickers down a little bit. I said, well, they'd have to do that with me, otherwise they wouldn't get half me back. I went for a massage with a friend of mine and we were in the waiting area and the woman came out and she said, ladies, just to let you know that on staff today we have a male massage therapist. And I was wondering if either of you would mind. My friend went, I'll have him. And I said to her afterwards, I said, look, you're single, you can always have the bloke one. Just let her finish her question first. Maybe leave it a beat and then say, I suppose I don't mind. Rather than, I'll have him. She came out after the massage with this big beaming smile on her face. And I said, was it a good massage? She said, oh, yeah. I said, that's good. She said, I felt his erection. Now, we take turns to paint. It was my turn. I thought, I'm not paying if she's had fucking extras. I said, you felt his erection? She said, yes, on me elbow. Now, I don't know what your elbows are like, but mine is like fucking rhino skin. I'd be hard pushed to tell hot from cold with mine. But that would be an excellent game show, wouldn't it? Cock or not, cock or not. One thing I I don't like, and this might come across overly mean, I don't want it to, but it might come across that way. I don't like a skinny massage therapist. The one I use at the moment is about my size, maybe a little bit bigger. I don't like the skinny ones. They've never said anything to me, but in my mind, when they're massaging me, they're doing this. I'm gonna need more time. It's a bigger surface area. Massage, there's an inner monologue going on up here. So outside I'm the picture of composure, but in here it's going crazy. And it depends on where she starts. If she starts at the bottom, I'll be like, oh, tickly feet, tickly feet, tickly feet. Oh, she's going up to the bit where I've got broken veins on the back of my leg. I don't like that. Oh, too close to me, Fanny, too close to me, Fanny, too close to me, Fanny. So I'm lying there, covered and happy. Very different version of Snow White than we're used to. And the massage ends. And she said to me, they always do this, right? They put on like a chocolatey voice. And she said, just relax, there's plenty of time. There's absolutely no rush. Please just stay relaxed. There's so much time. There's no need for you to rush. Please, there's so much time. I just want you to stay relaxed. What she didn't know is that I'd been down for fart for 40 minutes. The door had barely clicked shut when I let out the loudest, most trombonious fart you've ever heard. Remember, I was covered in oil. It's like the Salvation Army band had popped in. And I'm right in the middle of potentially the best fart of my life when she came back in with a glass of water. Expected her to go, is that curry, is it curry, is it curry, is that curry, is it curry, is that curry, is it curry, is it curry? And if she had, I would have gone, no, love, that's happy. You've been a cracking crowd, you really have. But just before I say goodbye, there's someone who wants to say hello. Tuvok. He's a little bit nervous. Oh, bless him. Actually, let me give us a second. I've got something that I think you like. Hold on. From my knickers so quickly. I don't think they're meaty enough for him.